What's up? So the Fortnite Season 2 live event has been pushed to this coming weekend, June 6th. And shortly after that, Season 2 is actually going to be wrapping up and we are going to be moving into Season 3. And so today I actually wanted to reflect on Tier 100 skins. Season 2's Tier 100 skin Midas has been one of my favorite of all time, not just for aesthetics, but also just his relation to the storyline. And it's been a while since I've really talked about any of these skins, and so I wanted to make a video ranking them all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please subscribe to the channel, we are on the road to 3 million subscribers. 3 million subs by the end of August. That's the goal. So please help the channel out, and let's get into it. All right, so coming in at the lowest spot on our list, this might be a little bit surprising. It's Vedetta. So I wanted to do this ranking video in a way that would sort of eliminate nostalgia, because every time it's just like, Black Knight's the best, and I'm sick of that whole idea. So instead, what I'm basing it on in this video is obviously number one, aesthetic, but also the innovation that skin brought. Maybe a new progression system or something else. How intricate it is and how many different styles it has, as well as just overall lore around the skin. And factoring all those things in really makes me realize how much I dislike Vedetta. I mean, this skin was Season 9, and by this time, Epic had done a really good job of developing the whole system within the Battle Pass. And I feel like they had a relatively established formula with Tier 100 skins. But to me, Vedetta just kind of landed flat. While he has all sorts of different progressions, they weren't really all that exciting. He falls in a very middle area where he's not really all that evil seeming or all that good. And that ultimately just makes him really boring. I think if they had gone for maybe a darker approach, it would have looked a whole lot better and really they would have pulled it off better. But to me, Vedetta is just a very boring skin that I was never excited about. Now, moving on to our number 10 spot, this is going to be the Ice King. So the Ice King was definitely an interesting concept, and I liked the lore that he brought to the storyline. But after 3 seasons of very intense progression on skins, this was a sort of progression system that really struck me as quite boring. All you essentially got were different color palettes of the exact same skin. And probably the coolest one was the second unlock, the black and red one. I just don't think there was enough done with this guy. You know, and it didn't even really have to be a lot. Maybe just a 3-tier system where he doesn't have his crown, then he's the one we get, and then like a glowing version or something like that. It didn't have to be a lot, but by Season 7, to me, it just seemed really boring to only get 4 different color styles. And really, I think with the Season 7 Battle Pass, Lynx did a lot of the heavy lifting on this one, and it's fortunate that she was in it because the Ice King was just kind of there. Now, moving on to number 9, this is going to be Dire. Honestly, Dire was a really cool idea, and I think probably the best implementation of the progression system. Because, like, it's actually very logical. He progresses from a guy to a werewolf. But I think overall the skin didn't land very well with the community simply because it just wasn't a great and loved aesthetic. He had some neat alternate styles, but again, to me, it just seems like not a lot of people really loved Dire. And I would probably put myself in that group as well. It was certainly unique, but I wouldn't call it exactly innovative. Now, I feel like Dire usually gets lumped at the very bottom, which to me isn't really fair. I mean, he's got more styles and a more interesting progression than the Ice King, and I think he actually does look better and is more appropriate for a Tier 100 skin than Vedetta. So I don't hate Dire, but I still would put him in my bottom 3. Now, moving on to number 8, this is going to be Lux. Now, this might come as a bit of a shock, as in the past I have really sort of ripped on Lux, but I've changed my mind a little bit. I think that Lux has actually aged really well. On the launch of Season 8, this was probably the most disliked Tier 100 skin simply because she was so basic. She just has 4 selectable styles, exactly like the Ice King. The thing is though, is that I think she manages to stand out a little more simply because it's a female skin. Like Lux is a skin that a lot of people still use because she just works as like your classic female sweaty skin. So if you look at her purely aesthetically, I think she actually is a lot better than the last skin we just looked at. She was absolutely underwhelming, and so that's why she's getting such a low spot still, but I don't think she's as bad as people originally said. So definitely a skin I've changed my mind on a little bit. Don't love her, but can respect it. Now moving on to our number 7 spot, this is going to be the Ultima Knight. So I certainly can't give the Ultima Knight too much credit, as he's probably the least innovative skin on this list. Basically just super simple progression, nothing fancy going on there. And he is a remake of the Black Knight. But I do like him, and I think that he manages to stand out from the Black Knight enough to sort of sit as his own skin. Inspired from the Black Knight, but you know, it's not just a Black Knight alternate color. So not very innovative or anything like that, but certainly like a pretty decent looking skin. Now, the big shocker for this video, you're probably gonna be like, oh. At number 6, I'm actually gonna give it up to the Black Knight. So the Black Knight is obviously a classic, and it's one of my favorite skins of all time, but I'm willing to accept that that's a lot of nostalgia. I was a big season 2 player, and I'm still sad to this day that I never ended up unlocking the Black Knight. But yeah, once you take away rarity and nostalgia, I think the Black Knight is just a good skin. You know, like there's nothing bad about him necessarily, but he just kind of gets taken down from that pedestal that people like to put him on. Personally, I love it, but I just can't say he's like that great. Now, actually, the Black Knight was tier 70, but you know, final tier of that battle pass. And he was the first, which is kind of unique, I suppose. But he was literally just a skin. That was it, you know? No progression, a single style. I love the Black Knight, but I don't want to let my own personal nostalgia and just the desire for it because it's rare get in the way of ranking it appropriately. So a cool skin, but it's just that. Now moving on to number 5, I'm actually going to give this up to John Wick, or the Reaper, ranking him higher than the Black Knight. Basically, I could say the exact same things I just said about the Black Knight about John Wick. Now this skin is obviously a whole lot less rare as it was season 3 when Fortnite was starting to pop off, but I guess at this point it might be a little bit uncommon. The thing with John Wick is I feel like he was so iconic to Fortnite. There were so many memes about, you know, you shoot a John Wick once and he builds like a giant castle and all that stuff that really had a big impact on the game. And you know, he might have had no progressions, he might have just been a whatever, but I think he did a really good job of sort of like grounding Fortnite in something. I mean, he was literally a character from a movie. Like, it was really big. And while he himself is not that exciting of a skin, I think he was very important for the game and he was truly iconic. So a little bit of credit for that at least. Plus, I mean, it's John Wick. Come on. Anyways, moving on to our number 4 spots. This is actually going to be Fusion. Fusion is honestly a fantastic looking skin, and we are way out of the months of me being hyped up about this because it's a new battle pass. Like we're way past that. Fusion is actually just still really good. Every time I look at this skin, no matter what style it is, I'm just reminded of how cool he is. He's also got some interesting lore being related to 0 points and all that, which is kind of cool as well. But yeah, like he didn't have a crazy progression. It really wasn't all that innovative. But to me, this was like the first tier 100 skin that I had seen pretty much since like season 5, where I really looked at it and was like, man, that is just clean. And the best part is he's got 2 different selectable styles, black and blue or black and blue. Anyway, moving on to our number 3 spot. This is going to be Ragnarok. So this was the second ever progressive tier 100 skin to be released in Fortnite, and he was a good one. So yeah, basically between Ragnarok and Fusion, like 5-6 seasons, I just didn't really love anything that Epic released. Like a lot of fine, you know? But I really do feel like this was a bit of a prime time for Epic releasing skins, and they absolutely nailed this one. A very, very cool progressive skin where you start as this Viking and turn into this giant like Cthulhu, Kraken, god. It's so cool. Also, I know this is maybe not the biggest deal, but he did glow, which was like a pretty big deal at the time. And while he may not be as iconic or as loved by the community as, say, I don't know, Drift, he's still really cool. Plus, fantastic pickaxe. Anyway, moving on to our number 2 spot. This is going to be my man, Midas. So now that I've been getting back into the Fortnite storyline, my appreciation for Midas just keeps growing and growing. I think he's got an interesting progression system that really just does a good job of tying him into what he is. Does that make sense? Like, it's very immersive that his progression system is just him getting gold. I mean, all the skins work that way, but like, it is so perfect for Midas. And while it might take 18,000 years to actually unlock that, it's still pretty cool. He's got multiple styles. He's got like his regular person and then the Shadow and Ghost gold variants. I love his aesthetic. But the thing that makes Midas obviously so cool is just how connected he is to the storyline. There is not another skin on this list that comes close to that connection. Fusion, kind of part of the storyline, but not a major player. Vendetta, no. Lux, so much wasted potential. Ice King, actually, yes. Ice King, probably I would say number 2. And then Dire, like literally everything is just, it's no. So yeah, I really love that they actually did something with the tier 100 skin and made them part of the storyline. I should say not even just part of it, but literally like the epicenter of what is happening this season. Honestly, it's just really surprising that they haven't done anything like this before. I mean, it gets people talking about the skins and it makes people want to buy the battle pass. Like it's very obvious to me to keep doing this, but yeah, I really love it. Anyway, Midas is an absolute legend and he comes in at number 2. But guys, coming in at number 1, it's gonna be Omega. I really think he's the only fair number 1 pick based off of this whole system I did for this video. Even when you eliminate nostalgia, whatever, all that, I think he still deserves the number 1 spot. Aesthetically, he is still an incredible looking skin. I mean, first of all, you've got his fully upgraded suit. Looks very cool, very respectable. But then if you're going for a slimmer look, okay, take all that armor off and you've got his zero suit. And of course, people who manage to get to level 80 will have his different colors. I know it's not part of the rating system, but like if you have level 80 Omega, that is so much better than just having the Black Knight. It's so much more respectable because it means you actually grinded back in the day. And I mean, talk about innovation. This was the first ever progressive skin. Well, besides Carbide. I mean, honestly, even if Omega dropped today, I would look at him and be like, wow, that is a really cool skin. I want it. And as far as tier 100 skins go, he is actually kind of related to the storyline in a small way. So there's that too. And so yeah, I still don't think to this day they have hit a better skin for tier 100 than Omega. They've been doing a much better job with chapter 2 so far, but yeah, that's my opinion. Anyways, that's gonna be your video for today. Again, if you could please hit that subscribe button. 3 million subs by the end of August. Again, I will be streaming the events on Saturday if you want to catch that, but that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you later, and peace out, you freaking nerds.